That's what my knowledge of this region is, although that is further south. But I guess what I'm getting at is this is sort of a poor region in my estimation. Is that accurate to say? Are there some pockets that of wealth? And is there like a resentment of all this commerce happening on this canal that's surrounded by people who are not reaping the benefits of said commerce?
That's more of a sort of a Horn of Africa vibe, and that's where you get things like Somali piracy is justified resentment at large, enormously wealthy vessels moving past you and occasionally like dumping toxic waste in your water. Egypt itself, not as much, but yeah, there are some very like economically depressed areas alongside. But on the other hand, you have like it goes to Port Said, which is a reasonably thriving city, largely on the back of that traffic. So yeah, it's a land of contrast.
Well, if you're a poor Egyptian, you have to be watching this whole debacle unfold online, thinking, who is their captain? If I was the captain now, this wouldn't happen. I could go get on a boat and become the captain now.
That guy, shout out to that actor who's from Minneapolis.
Huh.
Which actor?
Yeah. The guy who's out on
The captain?
Yeah.
Oh, I respect him. He's in charge.
Not Tom Hanks, but the new guy.
No, yeah, the new one.
Yeah.
Better captain, if you ask me.
Hell yes.
I haven't seen the film.
But there's not, so basically there's not as much piracy northerly.
There's basically no piracy in the Suez Canal because it's
too
important. Yeah, it's too important to the state of Egypt right now.
So is it like militarized?
One of the things is if you're on a canal, like, and someone tries to do piracy,
well, it's not many places for them to go.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, exactly. Like some cop cars can just pull up.
I do kind of like the idea, though, of you trying to like find a way to hydraulically like jump the locks.
Yeah,
just like
Ocean's
we
11,
out
the canal.
like giant spring.
Yeah, no, it's
a huge credit card. You're just jamming into the.
Like if we're talking about militarization, I will point out that the Israelis nearly took it in the 6-Day War, just by virtue of like armored advance. But a lot of Egyptian doctrine at that time was dedicated to defending it, and the fact that they got owned doesn't mean that they didn't think it was important, because it's like a pretty large proportion of the Egyptian economy, both then and now.
It's a big canal.
Yeah.
Oh, you're talking
the advantage is that like it's difficult to sabotage, right? There's certainly plenty of people, plenty of groups operating within Egypt who would like to sabotage the Suez Canal. Less, I think, on socialist principles and more on Islamist ones. But it generally speaking, I think those types of groups find that they get more bang for their buck, so to speak, in tourist areas like the Sharm el Sheikh aircraft bombing, things like that. Whereas the canal, like it's not as sexy to blow up a bulk carrier full of like iron ore, even if it's more economically damaging.
Or I would agree to disagree.
The other thing is like,
well, the thing is they never got an Egyptian weather underground, and if they did, then maybe they would do that. But
the canal is a ditch, right? What happens when you blow up a ditch? It gets bigger.
That's a good point. How long do you think this boat would have to be stuck there before they blew it up? I heard people on day 2 talking about we just got to blow the boat up.
Well, the plan was if they couldn't move
that
it,
was
they
my
were gonna,
solution, by the way.
They were gonna lighten it. They were gonna take a bunch of the containers off and then try, and then just to make it lighter. But that was gonna take for fucking ever. So yeah, I don't know, maybe.
If you dropped a nuclear weapon on that boat, the hull would still be there, because this is a very large boat. This is a very heavily built thing.
I mean, granted, you could just go around it.
I do not think you could blow it up. Right?
In America, we call that thick.